morning, everyone. My name is Dr. M. Nagaraju, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of CSE and ML in Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad. So today we are going to discuss about some of the definitions and terminologies that we are going to cover in the first module. So in this particular session, let us try to understand some of the definitions like what is artificial intelligence, and we will try to see what is the exact definition of artificial intelligence, and then we will try to see the statement a particular thing which is called as ability to communicate. So in terms of artificial intelligence, how we are going to get the ability of having a communication means what kind of support we are going to get with this communication concept, that we will try to see. Later we will try to understand the definition of natural language processing, and we will try to cover the AI techniques definition along with the state space representation, and the why the knowledge is so important in artificial intelligence, and also we are going to see the differences between the knowledge and intelligence. So we will try to cover these concepts in today's session, and first we will start with the artificial intelligence. So we know that natural intelligence and artificial intelligence are the two different perspectives whatever we are having. So we will try to understand what is natural intelligence is. The intelligence what we get by birth. So by exhibiting such kind of intelligence, we can create some wonders and we can solve the problems in the simple way. But when it comes to artificial intelligence, it is a completely a different intelligence which we are going to feed it from the external sources to a AI machine. And what this artificial intelligence is making an AI machine to do. So this definition is going to talk about what is this artificial intelligence and why it is going to be different with the other kind of intelligences. So let us try to understand the definition of artificial intelligence here. It is a study of how to make computers to do things which at the moment people do better. So already we know that with the natural intelligence, humans are creating wonders nowadays. So in that particular case, how this artificial intelligence is going to be vary means we need to exhibit, or we need to provide such kind of knowledge. We need to provide such kind of knowledge to the artificial intelligence machines so that even they can exhibit the similar kind of intelligence what the humans are implementing nowadays. But the concept so the concept is not a new concept actually. Why? Because AI, we can expand the AI as artificial intelligence, but this artificial intelligence in some other way, the people started seeing it as already implemented. Means this is not a new concept. Already this concept is implemented, but implemented in what cases? So we can say that artificial intelligence is already implemented in game playing and also implemented in the theorem proving. So means in the earlier days only in 1950s and 1960s itself, right, the people started using developing these kind of programs, game related programs like chess playing games, right, blocks rearrangement games, tic-tac-toe games. Okay, these kind of already games are already developed. So as this artificial intelligence is already implemented in this game playing and theorem proving, the people started calling this AI as even the already implemented one. But see, as AI migrates to the real world, we do not seem to be satisfied with just a computer playing a chess game. But actually, it does not mean that. Means we are not going to make use of this artificial intelligence only to perform or to play some kind of games, but we are trying to get more from the artificial intelligence. Why? Because simple game playing, theorem proving does not make any sense until and unless that machines can able to solve the real kind application problems. Okay, so with these concepts, you can say that artificial intelligence is a technology or a technique or an approach or a method which the humans are making use in order to exhibit, means in order to make the machines to exhibit the same kind of intelligence what the humans are exhibiting nowadays. So coming to the ability of communication. So already I told that the only one point which we can differentiate with the humans and the animals is this is one. So the animals cannot communicate with each other, right? Of course their communication way is completely different, but the humans communication is entirely different when compared with the animals. And even they are going to have, means the humans are going to make use of one particular language, as we can say it is a spoken language through which the humans do some kind of communication, and they will try to solve even the more complex problems also. in order to solve such kind of complex problems, there are already some kind of systems are available. So we can say that such systems are called as the expert systems. Okay, such systems are called as expert systems. So what do you mean by expert systems? Of course, we are going to study in the upcoming sessions, but I will try to explain you in a simple words. We can say expert systems is nothing but a kind of repository or a system which is going to provide the knowledge to the machines. Means in order to make a machine to exhibit intelligence, it requires knowledge. So that knowledge we are going to forward, or we are going to supply from the expert systems. Okay, so expert systems are going to provide such kind of knowledge, where what happens, all the significant problems can be solved. Means any kind of artificial intelligence problem can be easily solved by using the knowledge of these expert systems. So sometimes what happens, this expert systems knowledge can make us to solve a small portion of the problem, or sometimes it will allow us to solve even the complete problem also. And we can say here there is a requirement of this human expertise. The question comes is how the expert systems are going to get such kind of knowledge. So our primary duty means the developers primary duty is, means the people who are developing these expert systems primary duty is regularly they need to interact with the human experts, and they have to collect the data related to a particular domain, and that data need to be represented in the form of a knowledge. So that knowledge is only going to provide by the expert systems to the machines, so that even the machines can understand, can learn and exhibit the intelligent behavior. Coming to the natural language understanding. So just now we discussed that natural language processing is also one of the primary point. Why? Because in order to have a communication with the other people, for getting an expertise knowledge, knowledge of about a particular problem. So knowledge is the only primary thing that we are having. So in that case, natural language processing is also going to play an important role. Why? Because for humans it will be very easy to understand what the others are telling, and based upon our understanding we are going to give the responses accordingly. But what happens when we try to means when we are trying to communicate with the machines, is this kind of communication process will work for us? No. Why? Because the way how we are communicating with the humans cannot be the same how we can communicate with the machines. So in that case, definitely we need to have this natural language processing. Why? Because the data, I mean, generally the common point is data, through which data or information through which we are going to communicate with the machines. Means we will make use of information or data to communicate with the machines. But the question comes is, during the time of communication, what kind of data we are using will not be the same about the data that the machines will use. Why? Because the data which the humans will use, it will be considered as structured for ourselves. Means a structured data. But when it comes to the artificial intelligence machines, the structured data which is for the humans will becomes the unstructured data for the machines. Means in order to have a communication with the machines, we should supposed to process the data. We should supposed to process that. So that's why we need to have the natural language processing. So in natural language processing, our primary duty is we need to make use of this NLU. So what do you mean by this NLU? Means in order to convert, means the data, whatever the data we are making use to communicate with the machines, that data is completely the unstructured data. This data is completely unstructured data. So with this unstructured data, we cannot communicate with the machines. So what we have to do, we need to convert this unstructured data into the structured data. This structured data can be very easily understandable by the AI machines. So what making this unstructured data to be converted into the structured data? Means it is nothing but here NLU. Means NLU is a process, we can say. NLU is a process where we are converting this unstructured data into structured data. So that the structured data can easily understand by the AI machines, and it will learn from it, and it will try to exhibit the knowledge. So that's why we can say that NLU is not a simple task. Of course, it is a very difficult task. Why? Because it requires the understanding of sentences about a particular topic. We need to have a lot of knowledge about the language. That is also very, very important. And we need to have a good deal about the topic to recognize unstated assumptions. Means until and unless we have the complete knowledge about a particular problem domain, we cannot able to do such kind of communication. So here doing this natural language understanding means implementing this natural language understanding or performing this natural language understanding process is not a simple task. A lot of things are required: understanding of sentences, having a complete knowledge about a particular language, and trying to identify the states which have not been included in the problem statements, and all these things we need to understand. Coming to the definition of AI technique. So how can we define this AI technique? So artificial intelligence, we have just now discussed that it is a kind of intelligence that is exhibiting by the machines to perform the task, the same task we can say what the humans are performing nowadays. So we can say that AI technique is a method of exploiting the knowledge that should be presented. AI technique is nothing but exploiting of the knowledge. Why? Because knowledge itself is a primary thing which we are going to provide to the AI machine. What means, if your knowledge is good enough, if your knowledge is of good quality, if your knowledge is having good quantity, then easily every concept, every topic, or every uh, problem statement related things will be easily understandable by the machines. So the AI technique's main motto is to exploit the knowledge. To exploit the knowledge for what? The knowledge which so exploiting of the knowledge is nothing but here trying to prepare some kind of knowledge. We can say exploiting of knowledge is nothing but the preparation of knowledge, we can say. So how the preparation of knowledge should be? It should be generalized. So what do you mean by generalized? Means it should not be related to the specific problem statement. Why? Because if it is like that, the knowledge whatever you are preparing, that knowledge will be useful only to solve that particular problem. But if you want to solve a similar kind of problem, so in that case you need to redefine or reconstruct the knowledge. But it should not happen like that. So if your knowledge representation is in the generalized way, so it will be very easy to implement or make use of such kind of knowledge to solve the similar kind of different AI problems. And instead of situations that share important properties, it's better to group them together. Means whatever the properties, means during the exploitation of knowledge, if you find any of the statements that are sharing the same kind of properties, it's better to group up all those properties in the single place. And if that knowledge does not have this property, means if you believe that the whatever the knowledge you have gained, and that particular specific part of the knowledge is not suitable to your problem domain, so what you need to do is you need to incorporate amounts of memory, and updation will be required. So updating of knowledge base is also required. So we cannot say that preparation of the knowledge base or acquiring of knowledge or exploiting the knowledge is not a one time process. It need to be repeated. It is repeated continuously until and unless you believe that we have efficient quality and quantity of knowledge to solve a particular problem. Let us try to understand the definition of here the problem state space. So it is very very important to have a representation, which can clearly help us to understand how a problem can be solved, or how a already existed problem is solved. So in that case, it is a best way to have a state space representation. So in the state space representation, we are going to select a particular problem statement, and we are going to explain each and every step in present in that. Means how the problem statement is selected, and how the different rules we are applying to solve that problem, and what are the different states that has changed, means the problem has changed, that everything we are going to explain it. Means in the state space representation, we can clearly say that, or we can clearly describe how a particular problem has been resolved, how a particular problem is solved, right, in a step by step manner. And even if there is a need, means if there is any possibility, it's better to have a visualization, means a pictorial representation means which is going to represent your problem statement and also the process of solving your problem. So we can say that before trying to solve a particular AI problem, it's better to have a state space. It's better to have a state space, we can say a visualization. In that case, what happens, we are going to show, or we are going to see each and every step that we are going to follow, means how the given problem is changing its state, so that it can move towards a solution, or so that it can become a solution. Okay. So here the main problem is to have a, means we need to define the problem as a state space search. State space is a very common point. If your problem is related to search, then we can say it is a state space search. So let us try to take one example, and we will try to understand what do you mean by this state space search. For example, if you are trying to write a program which is related to the chess playing game. So in that case, our first primary duty is we need to specify the starting point. Starting point in the sense where we are going to start playing this game. It means we can say that a chess playing game board is going to have a 8 by 8 representation, means 8 rows and 8 columns. So in that particular rows and columns, which will be the first point where we are going to start our game. And later on, we need to specify the rules. We need to specify the rules, right? So what do you mean by these rules here? In this case, rules is nothing but the legal moves. Rules is nothing but the legal moves, means whatever the moves a particular coin, a particular object in the chess playing game can be performed. It means it can be a soldier, it can be a king, it can be a queen, it can be a lion, it can be a camel, right? Anything, means how we can make the move. How we can make the move during the game playing, that is going to talk about the rules. So rules are nothing but some kind of statements which is going to provide us the legal moves. By using that legal moves only, we need to play the game. And later we need to mention even the board positions also. We need to mention the board positions that represent a win for one side or the other. So when can we say that the opponent or we have won the game? So for that one, we need to specify even the board position. So if you are talking about the state space representation of this chess playing game, we can say that this is going to have, this state space representation is going to have the starting point. It is going to have the different rules we are going to apply, means different legal moves, and we are also going to see the board positions also. Yeah, so this is a kind of state space representation. And in addition, we can explicitly state our objective to win the game. So this is also very, very important. Just applying some kind of rules, making some doing some kind of legal moves, that does not make any sense. So you need to define what is your objective. What is your objective? So it is done by creating the rules that clearly define our goal. So what is our goal here? Actually, we can say that there are two different goals for chess playing game. One is we need to always follow the legal moves. That is very, very important. Later on, we need to make the opponent not to move. Okay, we need to make the opponent not to move. Means it no legal moves, we can say. Means if the opponent does not have any legal moves, then we can say that we have won the game. Okay, so here what will be our objectives? One objective is always to have the legal moves, do the legal moves, and make the opponent not to have any legal. Let us try to talk about this knowledge. Why? Because just now we discussed that knowledge is a very, very primary thing in this case. So until and unless you have the knowledge, you cannot make an AI machine to behave in the intelligent way. So we can say that knowledge is the information about a particular domain that can be used to solve the problems. So just now we discussed it is completely, means knowledge is going to be completely related to a specific problem domain. Okay, it can be a health industry, it can be production, it can be manufacturing, it can be anything. Okay, so if you could able to acquire or exploit the knowledge related to a specific domain, some kind of information about a specific domain, such information we can say it as a knowledge. So with this knowledge, what we can do is we can design a program. We can design a program which can solve the problem. So for that one, what we have to do is we need to define the knowledge, and we need to know how we need to mention how this knowledge will be represented. Okay, why? Because just having a knowledge does not make the AI machine to understand clearly. So we need to represent the knowledge in such a way that even the AI agent can understand, means AI machine can understand it very easily. So you should suppose to maintain such kind of representation schemes. So in this case, we can say that the representation scheme is going to talk about the way how you are representing the knowledge. And it is going to tell about that how this represented knowledge is making use by this AI agent. Okay, so in simple words, we can say that a representation scheme specifies the form of the knowledge. So what is the difference between knowledge and intelligence? Means if you talk in a general way about artificial intelligence, we are going to see similar kind of explanations about this knowledge and intelligence. But if you observe it more clearly, there is a lot of difference between knowledge and intelligence. Okay, so if we talk in terms of dependent and independent, we can say that knowledge is completely independent of intelligence. Means in order to acquire or in order to gain the knowledge, it does not require any kind of intelligence. But whenever you want to exhibit, either the human or the AI machine wants to exhibit the intelligence, then it must have the knowledge. So that's why we say every time that the actual knowledge is going to play an important role in intelligence. And even that knowledge is going to make us to create artificial intelligence. Okay, so expressing such kind of intelligent behavior in artificial intelligence is completely going to depend on the knowledge. So what is going to happen here if the knowledge is not appropriate, or if the knowledge is not enough, not sufficient, then we can say that the AI agent is not going to function accurately. Means if the AI machine could not able to solve a given problem, it does not mean that AI machine is failed, but it means that you have not provided the sufficient knowledge to that machine. That's why we say that if the machine is not acting accurately, then it means that you have not provided the sufficient knowledge to it. So here what we need to do is we need to provide the enough knowledge. Okay, we need to provide the enough knowledge to the AI agents to exhibit the intelligence and also work function accurately. Okay, so this is the reference from where I have taken these definitions, and these definitions are related to module 1. So we will try to see the other definitions and terminologies of module 2 in the coming session. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.